Hello everyone, and welcome to my Duel Today official news channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. On Days of Our Lives today, Steve wishes he could move on. Theresa and Alex play Truth or Dare. Harris surprises Kate and Roman. And Everett invites Stephanie to spend the night. At night, Marlena shouts out for John as she gets home. She phones him when he refuses to identify himself. In the square, he responds. He's out for a walk because he couldn't sleep. He ends the call by saying he'll be home shortly. Marlena taps more buttons on her phone, looking worried. Theresa and Alex explain why they are in the hospital when Alex gets home, but they remain mum on what they were talking about with Kayla and Marlena, respectively. Theresa suggests they play a game of Truth or Dare, something simple and entertaining. In all honesty, she finds out that Lindsay Lohan was his first celebrity obsession. However, he asks for a dare when she asks him to name the most clever, endearing, and gorgeous woman he has ever kissed. She looks at him and challenges him to give her a kiss. He complies with pleasure. Everett finds it difficult to confess to Stephanie in his Salem inn-room. He is afraid since it seems like a great risk, but he must go through with it. Although he respects her limits, he finds it intolerable to be in the buddy zone. He couldn't live without her and would do anything to reclaim what they had, so he traveled to Salem in search of her. In the square, Steve discovers John preoccupied. While he tries to brush it off as a coincidence, John is aware that Marlena was the sender. Steve explains that both she and he are concerned about him. Steve remembers that when they used to meet in the shadows, it was always on opposing sides. John says, "I've been told so." If he still can't recall anything from that period of time, Steve queries. John informs us sternly that those memories have been erased. Steve feels envious of him. Steve wishes he could go back in time and stop working for Victor. He finds it difficult to let go of such memories, particularly while Konstantin is present. Steve says he's positive Konstantin is aware of the pawn when John asks. John is taken aback, questioning how it's possible. Steve is ignorant on the matter, but Konstantin was making fun of him as though he was an authority. They both agree that they must approach the task of solving it strategically. Everett tells Stephanie, who is taken aback, at the Salem Inn that it's clear he feels something for her. She acknowledges this, but she has also made hers quite apparent. She's invited him to meet her parents and friends too, as far as he's aware. Stephanie admits that she was devastated by him, which is why her feelings are nuanced. Wondering what she did to make him go, she tortured herself. When she believed he had abandoned her, she broke down completely and didn't get better for a while. She sobs, wondering if her tendency to feel like she's constantly to blame for problems stems from a natural lack of confidence. Everett is relieved that she is at last talking about this so he can comprehend the suffering she endured. His only desire is to compensate her. "Will I be permitted to do that? Would you please?" Kate demands to know where Lucas is when Harris surprises her and Roman in the closed pub. Lucas is waiting for them in a room that Harris leads them to upstairs. Harris says he carried Lucas in a linen basket out of the hospital. Even the commissioner of police is in the dark about his presence. Lucas expresses regret to Roman for forcing him to give sanctuary to the man who abducted his daughter. Roman makes it clear that he is welcome to visit at any moment as his stepson. Alex finds out at the flat that Theresa would undoubtedly free Tate if she could do anything without getting discovered. He then inquires as to the largest lie she has ever uttered. Instead, she makes a dare request, which makes Alex curious about the lie. She would want to stay out of it. He challenges her to belt out her all-time favorite song from childhood. With excitement, she performs Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Up until their neighbor starts banging on the wall, Alex joins in. Alex interprets that as their signal to head for bed and call it a night. Theresa advises them to get separate beds in order to get a decent night's rest. Reluctantly, Alex heads to his room. Theresa turns around as she goes to grab hers. She asks, "Who am I kidding?" as she walks inside Alex's room. Stephanie questions Everett in his room about why no one in his family or his coworkers searched for him after he vanished. Since Everett wasn't assigned at the time, his supervisor most likely assumed he had moved on. His dad is an alcoholic, and his mother passed away when he was a young child. Stephanie says she's sorry to have asked after learning that. He goes on to say that he experienced retrograde amnesia when he first woke up. However, Stephanie was the first item he clearly remembered after a while. At last, he had a goal: to return to her. She gives him a hug. They give each other a fierce kiss as they retreat. To her, Everett says he's missed her. "I was missing you." She says, "Me too." But she's not quite ready to spend the night with him. All he wants is to hold her as she sleeps. She says, "That would be nice." They undress and slide into bed, spooning under the blankets. When John returns home, Marlena is nervous. They had a nice conversation, and he knows she sent Steve to look for him. The fact that she always knows what he needs makes him one lucky guy. "I simply adore you," she says. He adores her. They say goodnight and kiss. Harris says above the pub that Lucas will have to go back to Statesville to finish his sentence if the danger is removed. Kate assists Lucas in getting into bed after Harris leaves. Lucas praises Roman once more for allowing him to stay. Roman wants the best for himself because he is his wife's son. Furthermore, his actions in combating the drug epidemic are noble and courageous. Steve and Harris cross paths on the square. Steve asks whether he wants to release the weight when he senses something is bothering him. Harris thanks him, but perhaps at a later date. Next on Days of Our Lives, Lady Whistleblower has a new target as Steve confides in Kayla about his worries. Peacock is presently the only network that airs Days of Our Lives. Subscribe to Peacock to ensure you never miss an episode. Please be aware that we might get a tiny commission on any purchases you make after clicking on a link in this article. Updates and spoilers for Days of Our Lives teasing Blake Barris' character Everett Lynch is keen to pressure Stephanie Johnson, Abigail Clean, into making a commitment. Knowing that Stephanie is close with his former Jad hunter, Elia Cantu, he decides he had best move quickly to get that ring on her finger before the truth is revealed. Everett makes a startling revelation to Stephanie, though it's probably not the one he should be making. He ought to acknowledge that he was previously married to Jada, but Stephanie wouldn't have it because of what he did. He even went by a new name. He tells her straight out that he has a confession to make, and naturally, she can't stop thinking what it could be. Stephanie believes that Everett is still stalling, and if he was thinking about telling her about his history with Jada, he chooses not to. Stephanie persistently tries to get him to confess, and when he finally does, that he still loves her, she is taken aback by his apparent weakness. In the past, Stephanie had set some boundaries with Everett, informing him that although she enjoyed their time together, their friendship was all she could bear at the time. Everett's declaration of love has made her realize that, despite other things she hasn't been facing, she needs to face her feelings for him. Ever since she believed he had abruptly abandoned her in Seattle, Stephanie has been trying to keep her heart safe and shield herself from suffering another setback. Subsequently, Everett shares additional information regarding his post-accident experiences, his coma, and his post-awaken diagnosis. After he goes into further detail about his recovery and experiences, Stephanie breaks down in tears, believing he has abandoned her. Stephanie feels bad now that she knows the truth about what had transpired with Everett, and not just presuming he had ghosted her. They become closer when they share their truths, and the new knowledge makes her feel differently. If she had known the truth, she would have wanted to support him through it. She knows it wasn't what she thought it was, but she still hasn't fully healed from what occurred in Seattle. She is conflicted when Everett invites her to stay the night. She is trying to balance her need for self-defense with her gratitude for his love and honesty, and she wants to show consideration for that. She tells him that she's simply not ready to go that far yet, and his understanding makes her want to stay even longer. Make sure you read up on all that is currently going on with DOL. About news, updates, and spoilers about days of our lives, check back here frequently. Thanks for watching if you like this video. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't miss any updates.